This is the bump. Hello, welcome back to Learning Curves. I'm Anastasia, and I am 29 and a half weeks pregnant with my second baby. I'm a mom. I'm gonna be a mom some more. First time around, the postpartum period was very hard for me. I remember sobbing my eyes out at 8 weeks postpartum to my husband, confessing, I don't like my life right now. I was so scared of how he was gonna react. You know, I had an 8-week-old brand new human. We had our health. I had this beautiful labor and delivery experience. We have nothing to complain about really, but there's also plenty to complain about because it's such a hard, big transition. There was a while there where when I would find out that someone was pregnant, my first reaction would be, I am so sorry, because I would know what they had ahead of them and how much I feel like we are not prepared. There was a lot of stuff I was not prepared for. In fact, I think a lot about, I was in a couple mom groups while I was on maternity leave, and there was a woman in one of those groups who I remember saying, there's no part of this I like. I feel lied to. And she kind of was. I feel like we are kind of lied to. It's a lie of omission. We don't hear how hard that transition is. I don't know if it's just that we want to be silent warriors or because we're not hearing other people talk about how hard it is that we're embarrassed that it's so hard for us. But I have no shame, so I'm gonna tell you exactly how hard it was for me. They call it the 4th trimester, and I think that it lasted a lot longer than 3 months for me. I like to research things, and transitioning from not being a parent to being a parent was no exception. However, most of that research was about labor and delivery. I feel like that's what we focus on as a culture here in the States. I don't think that's always the case in some other international cultures. I think that they have more of a respect for the postpartum period, but here in the States, the questions you get asked are, where are you delivering? Or when are you due? Or who's delivering your baby? To which I say, I am. Mamas are really involved in their labor and delivery experience, okay? But I didn't think about the postpartum period. When we talk about the postpartum period, there's a lot of congratulations, I'm so excited for you. It's a lot of positivity, and when you see representations from other families who have welcomed a new baby, a lot of times it's beautiful newborn photo shoots or, people talking about how in love they are with their child. And I think some of that is that we want to focus on the positive. Like as we're experiencing things postpartum, we don't want to dwell on the challenges that we have, but we want to brag about our successes. But I also don't think that this world is a safe place right now for women to say, I don't like this. This is hard. And I think that because of a lot of that collectively, I felt pretty blindsided about that postpartum experience. I mean, even the words postpartum, a lot of people will use that by itself to mean postpartum mood disorders. It makes it seem like if you have a hard time postpartum, it's because there's something chemically wrong with you. Otherwise, it should be fine. Otherwise, it's a joy. Babies sleep all the time. There are a lot of really beautiful things, and I don't want this video to sound like a horror story. I want this video to be informative and preparatory because I don't intend to have a horrifying experience postpartum this time around. I intend to get ahead of it, and just like labor, is it going to be challenging? Yes, absolutely. Is there a way around that? No, there isn't. I don't care if you have an epidural. I don't care if you have a cesarean birth. It's going to be challenging, but it can be beautiful. There are plenty of things that are hard to do that are so worth doing. And I think that bringing a new baby into your home, if that's something you want to do, is one of those things. And as I'm coming up on reprising that, I want to talk today about the things that first time around really surprised me that I wasn't expecting, the things I'm going to do differently this time around to hopefully get a handle on it and have it be more of a positive experience, and a couple things that I think we got right the first time. Actually, one of them we didn't even get right. It was something someone else did for us, and I'm going to use this video to ask her to do it again. Get ready, Mom. But that brings me to another point. This video is not just for moms. It is for any parent welcoming a new child, but also any people who want to be helpful. There are some things in here for you that you can do, because a lot of things that I think people do with the intent to be helpful sometimes can kind of get in the way and have the opposite effect. So I want to talk about those things so that we can all do things that are legitimately helpful for ourselves and our loved ones. So let's get into it. So things I learned. First off, I learned that healing or downtime postpartum immediately after birth is not just for your comfort. The healing process is an important piece. Physically healing from the huge workout that your body just went through, whether it was a vaginal delivery or cesarean birth, your body just did something. That physical transition, I think, is something that we don't respect enough. We tend to make exceptions become the new norm. You know, people will talk about, oh, she got back to work this quickly, or she was back outside exercising this quickly, and it feels competitive and it feels like metrics we're supposed to be looking at. I didn't realize that was a thing in the back of my head as my midwives, as my doula, and it might be different for other care providers, but mine were saying 2 weeks. 2 weeks, laying low, not even going for walks. You know, our bedrooms upstairs, I am in our guest room where we're staying for the renovation, and because at least this first point is going to be about how much time you're supposed to spend here, I thought this would be an appropriate place to shoot this video. But our bedroom's upstairs, and I remember being told, you go down those stairs once a day. If you need something, you ask someone to bring it to you. You stay put as much as possible. And I remember being like, guys, I'm fine. And, you know, within a few days, I wanted to walk around and I felt like getting up. And I didn't understand that it was important for me to not do that for my own healing. I don't like comparing birth to injuries because there's nothing wrong with you. You know, birth is a healthy function of the human body. But, you know, think about when you sprain an ankle or something. You don't walk on it like normal the moment it stops hurting. No, you continue to rest for a while before you put your weight back on that and use it as you were previously. And it's similar with your body postpartum. It's not just once you feel fine, go for it. There's still stuff happening. Take care of yourself, rest, relax. And being, you know, ideally in bed for 2 weeks, it does a lot of things for you. Not only does it give you that time and space to heal, but it gives you a beautiful opportunity to really bond with your baby. Kangaroo care is that skin to skin contact, which is incredibly important. Honestly, I would have spent the first 2 weeks postpartum topless in bed with my child the first time around if I knew then what I know now. And I'm gonna do that this time because you get all that beautiful skin to skin. It can support establishing a healthy breastfeeding relationship if that's something you choose to do. And it can help you sleep when baby sleeps. You know, you hear that a lot, they say that a lot, but oh my gosh, that's a huge thing I'm going to do this time is sleep when baby sleeps. The second thing about my body that I learned was breastfeeding is hard. Prenatally, you get asked a lot of times if you intend to breastfeed. And this is something that all child preparation communities agree on. OBs, midwives, doulas, childbirth educators, everybody encourages breastfeeding. So, you know, as they ask, do you intend to breastfeed? You get to feel really proud of yourself. I do intend to breastfeed. And what you don't hear about is that might not be something that works for you. You might desperately want to breastfeed your baby, and that might not work out. And we had a lot of trouble with that. After I find out how breastfeeding goes this time around, I'll make a video about breastfeeding. The next thing I was surprised by, and I wonder how many other people experience this because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, was the loneliness that I felt postpartum. My husband got, I think, 8 days off work, and I mean 8 consecutive days, not 8 business days, and I had 12 weeks, and we had visitors for part of that, but for so much of it throughout the day, it was just me and my daughter. And I describe myself as a clinical extrovert. We'll talk about that in another video. But as an extrovert, not having a lot of give and take interactions was really taxing on me. You know, you don't get a lot from babies. They hardly even look at you to begin with. It's the same thing day in and day out. It's diaper changes and feedings, and that's kind of it. Naps, you know, like there's not a lot that's happening. It felt kind of like Groundhog's Day, but by myself, you know, going all day, being sleep deprived and changing diapers and not being able to make my breasts work. You know, it felt really hard and I felt really alone. Even the successes, even when, oh, she smiled or she made a face, I don't know, experiencing all of those by myself felt really lonely. It was really lonely. And 12 weeks is a long time. And you're doing that all by yourself, at least during the day if your partner's not there again. Which, if your partner goes back to work, then evenings become a whole other thing. And that brings me to the next big thing that I was not prepared for, and didn't expect, and that was all of the changes that happened in my marriage postpartum. This is a big one. When I'm home all day, from my husband's perspective, it's like you can nap with her when she naps. And from my perspective, it's you have not been on this emotional roller coaster all day long. I'm gonna need a minute. You take your daughter. There are a lot of new responsibilities in the house, making sure that both people feel comfortable with what they're doing. And in our case, both of us felt like we were doing a lot. And one of us felt like the other one wasn't doing as much. It wasn't great. I didn't expect all of the challenges that we had. And it's to the point where I really earnestly believe that marriage counseling should be a part of postpartum care. Your prenatal care provider, your OB, your midwife, whoever, you see them postpartum to check on you, not because there's something wrong with you, but to make sure that everything's okay and address anything that needs to be addressed. And I think the same thing should happen with marriage counseling postpartum. Check in, make sure everything's okay, and address anything that needs to be addressed, because it's all the worst case scenarios. Your schedules are just out the window, no one's sleeping, everyone's probably hungry, everything's probably filthy and covered in spit up or poop. There's gonna be a moment at 4 o'clock in the morning when the baby's been up crying for an hour and a half and everyone's at the end of their rope, and one of you is going to break, or even one of you is going to think that the other one broke and said something not nice, and then things are gonna explode. The stakes are high, and we didn't do great. My husband and I balance each other really well. Sometimes we're not great at working together. When we need to move a piece of furniture together, there's gonna be an argument. There's gonna be a fight. There are just so many things that were magnified by the sleep deprivation and by the high stakes. So now I want to talk about things I'm going to do differently this time around to try and get ahead of some of this stuff. First off, I am treating this postpartum period like it's sacred, because I think it is, and I think it should be. Specifically, I'm going to stay in bed as much as I can those first 2 weeks. I'm going to do some food prep beforehand. Maybe I'll even get crazy and make like a kind of meal plan for a few months and some grocery shopping lists so that I can Venmo somebody some money and ask them to go pick us up some produce. I'm going to really try and have a bubble around our new family unit. During the day, it's just gonna be baby and me. And the loneliness, I think, really started to wear on me later. I think being ready for privacy with my new daughter, I think I can prepare myself for that. When she's new, our relationship is new, we're just getting to know each other. I'm getting yeah, that we can have this, little mama baby bubble as both of us transition to not being one body anymore, to not being connected. Oh, now the emotions are going the other way. You guys heard that Kristen Bell quote? I'm sure you have, because everyone has. She says, if I'm not between a 3 and a 7 on the emotional scale, I'm crying. That's me also. I see you, Kristen Bell. But now it's more like if I'm not between a 4 and a 6. But yeah, I'm going to stay in that bubble in bed as much as possible throughout the day, and then try and have some time bringing my husband and my other daughter, my firstborn, into that bubble in the evenings. That means something I'm going to do differently as far as visitors, and this is a piece that if you are not directly expecting a new baby, but you know someone who is, I think every mom is different. I think every baby is different. I think every family is different. I think everybody's relationship with their family members, their outside circles, it's all different. So I think that the most important thing to do if you want to be helpful for a family who's just welcomed a new baby is to ask them what they want. And if you're going to offer something that is for them and not about your introduction to the baby. Letting them know, I want to do something for you, might help them feel like they can ask for that thing. Because I didn't want to ask for anything. I wanted to be able to do it all on my own. And there are so many things that I would have just love to have people do for me. I mean, even just to have a person around later on. I felt so lonely. I didn't realize I was taking other people's desires for their relationship with my baby into consideration as much as my own. I was like, I know that people are excited to meet this baby, and they are, but I was like, well, they're gonna want to meet this baby, so of course they have to come meet this baby, and of course they have to hold this baby. I didn't think about the fact that I know that my loved ones want to help, whatever that looks like, and what that might look like is not holding the baby and socializing and entertaining. The first time around, I was like, we're gonna need help right away. And we had my husband's mom come, and she stayed with us for a couple of weeks, and we got really spoiled. We had beautiful fresh meals every day, and she did laundry and dishes. Our home was clean, and that was incredible and wonderful, but I wish I would have shifted that back. We got so spoiled that then in week 3, when she was gone and we're figuring out whatever we can for food, and the sleep deprivation is really hitting a spot, and really in a place where we could have used help, it kind of made it harder not having all of those things that we got really spoiled with the first couple of weeks. So this time around, I'm going to plan on no visitors for the first 2 weeks. I mean, also, we're in a pandemic. Something else I'm doing differently this time around is take a different type of childbirth education course. I thought, childbirth education is childbirth education. This is a much more expansive course. I am relearning some things. I am refocusing myself on that labor and delivery experience because I don't want to be like, oh, that was easy, so it's going to be fine. I want to still respect that piece of it, but I want to devote more efforts to all of the after things. Another thing is we are going to have marriage counseling on standby. We did end up seeing someone about 6 months postpartum, but I think that having someone available same week that you're having issues, still having time to focus on our relationship, on our team, I want to make sure that we still take time for that, for he and I. Because he's like, and I like him, he's nice. Something else I'm going to do this time around is have more respect for a sleep schedule. First time around, I just thought, well, we'll just follow her lead. And I wish I would have put more effort into establishing a healthy sleep routine, because my daughter did not sleep through the night until she was 8 months old. To be sleep deprived for 8 months, and I think we did her a disservice by not trying to get her on a schedule earlier. So, what we did right the first time. First, the one we didn't actually do. I remember in our childbirth education class, there was a woman in there who was talking about how in her family they have a tradition. They would send a cleaning service to their house while they're in the hospital, so they come home to a clean home that's absolutely going to get destroyed in the first few weeks, because that's just gonna happen. My mom gifted us first time around. She paid to have a cleaning service come clean our home. And I haven't said this yet on this channel because I've been nervous that I'm gonna get shamed for it, and I have a lot of guilt, and I'll make a video on it if you're interested. But we did rehome our 2 cats, and we're about to have this renovation that better be over by the time this baby comes, because this is the birthplace of this baby. This is our birthplace. I want to have the baby at home. Mom, will you please? I'll set up a GoFundMe. It was so appreciated to have our home professionally clean and feel like you start off on a clean slate there. But the thing that I think I actually got right the first time around, and that I am going to do again, and that I want to encourage every parent to do, is to trust your gut. You don't know what kind of obstacles you're going to face. I do think that everybody's challenges are different. There were women who had the exact opposite breastfeeding experiences that I did, and there are women who had the exact opposite birth experience that I did. I had a beautiful birth experience, and there were women who had really challenging birth experiences. I had a terrible breastfeeding experience, still going to try again, and there were women who had really beautiful breastfeeding experiences. And, you don't know which combination of challenges you're going to have in your relationship with your baby and in your postpartum experience. But the one thing that I think that we should all do throughout is to trust our gut, because there are different choices to make. There are a million different things that you can do for your baby or not do for your baby that somebody else would never do or not do, and who cares? That's not their baby. I think it's really important for us to listen to our guts and trust our instincts and let that guide us through. We're all gonna mess it up anyway, right? Just like labor. I know it's still gonna be hard, but it's also gonna be beautiful. It's kind of a shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars situation. I'm not gonna get it right. It's not gonna be perfect, but I think if I put more effort into preparing myself, ourselves, my family, my home, that we'll have more of a positive experience. I hope you found this helpful, and if you have any recommendations, anything that you learned in your postpartum experience that you think I left out, that could also help me, or, you know, like other people too or whatever. Put that in the comments below. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like this video and please consider subscribing. I'll see you next time. Bye. I don't know why I have to make the noises. That's crazy, right? I still have 11 weeks left. Well, we'll get there. Bye.